everyone, my name is Karen, this is my channel RatherBeReading, and today I'm bringing to you my May TBR. So I'm hoping that May is going to be a really big reading month for me because I have a lot of library books that are due. So I'm hoping to get through a lot of books. So we will start off with the library books. I'm actually only showing you guys 5 library books at the moment because these are the kind of ones that I have to get to this month that are due like earlier on in the month. I actually have a whole bunch of other library books that are due, but they're due right at the end of the month. So if worst comes to worst, I can read those at the start of June. But ideally, I would like to get to everything, but I'm only showing you guys the ones that I'm definitely getting to this month. So let's jump into the library books, as I said. So first off, we have The Complete Mouse by Art Spiegelman. This is a graphic novel that is a biographical. I believe this is, Art Spiegelman wrote this about his father's accounts of the Holocaust. And it's a graphic novel where the Nazis are depicted as cats and the Jewish people are depicted as mice. Yeah, I've heard really amazing things about this. It did win a Pulitzer Prize, so I'm sure this is going to be really, really amazing. And hard to read, I'm sure. Next, I have The Girl Who Chased the Moon by Sarah Addison Allen. I am very vague on what this is about. All I really can gather from like skimming the synopsis is that it's about a girl who goes to I think it's a small town where her mother grew up to connect with the grandfather that she's never met. I'm not sure if her mother has passed away or what's going on. But I think this town's a bit strange, and I think it's got a lot of magical realism aspects to it. I don't know anything apart from that. Not sure if I'm going to like this or not, but here's hoping. I then have Sleep Like a Baby by Charlene Harris. This is the 10th, I think, book in the Aurora Tea Garden Cozy Mystery series. This is the most recently published one. I'm not sure if this is the final book, if there are going to be more coming out, but I'm looking forward to reading this because I did really enjoy the previous one published. I then also have Refuge for Masterminds by Kathleen Baldwin. This is the 3rd book in the Strange House series. I'm not sure, again, if this is, I know that this is the final book that's been published, but whether it was originally intended to only be 3 books, I'm not sure, because this is like a companion series where each book has followed a different girl from the school, and there are 5 girls, but there's only 3 books, so I'm not sure how that's working. So once I read this, I'll know whether this is the final book or not. But I'm kind of hoping it's the final book because while I've enjoyed the series for the most part, I haven't super loved it. So 5 books is a pretty big investment. So I'm kind of hoping that this one does wrap up the story over, like the overall kind of series story, and that we get, you know, a final complete story in this one. And the final book that I have from the library that I must get through this month is The Edge of Normal by Carla Norton. This one is a thrillery type novel about a girl who is 20, I think, now in her 20s. So she's in her 20s, but when she was 12 years old, she was kidnapped and held in captivity for 4 years. I'm not sure, obviously, how she escaped or whatever, but I think her captor is behind bars. And then she has worked for years to overcome all of the trauma, obviously associated with having been held captive for so long. When a family reaches out to her that has a missing daughter, and I think their daughter, I'm not sure if their daughter is missing or I think their daughter has also recently been discovered, and they want her to help this daughter to kind of recapture a normal quote-unquote life. They want her to help, but then other girls also start going missing, and I think it's all about trying to figure out who's kidnapping these girls and her getting involved with that. I don't know, this sounds pretty interesting. I'm hoping this is going to be really fast-paced, you know, enjoyable type thriller. I think this actually might be the first book in a series too, so I'm not sure how that's going to work, but I am looking forward to getting to this one. Now to get through all of my like physical TBR books that I'm hoping to get through this month. The first books that I have actually are not technically from my TBR shelf. It is a reread, which is the Grisha trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. So we have Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, and Ruin and Rising. I would like to reread these so that I can pick up the Six of Crows duology. This is a trilogy that I really loved. I believe originally I gave the first book 4.5 stars and both the second and third books 5 stars. That was a couple of years ago, and I know you don't need to reread this trilogy to read the Six of Crows duology, but I really want to because it is a series that I really enjoyed, and I think it's just going to really like get me in the mood for the world of Six of Crows, so I do really want to reread this trilogy this month. I then plan to take a bit of a break from all things Grisha by reading Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. It's actually pretty funny that this has just come up on my TBR because, as you know, if you've been watching my channel, I read my books in the order that I purchase them, and next up is this book, and the movie has just come out for this. So if the movie is still in cinemas when I finish this, I may see the movie if I really enjoy the book. I'm not sure. This is a book that is about a boy who, it's like a dystopian type future, I think, where everyone hooks into this kind of virtual reality world, and that's where they like go to school and have jobs and things like that. And the creator of this world, who is worth like billions of dollars, has recently died, and he has hidden Easter eggs in the virtual reality, and the person who finds all of the Easter eggs like is the person who gets like his fortune. That's all I really know about it. I've recently, since the movie's come out, have heard a lot of people talking about how they don't like this book, but at the time that I purchased this, everyone was raving about this book, so I'm interested to see whether I enjoy this or not, and like I said, whether it's worth going to see the movie. And then the final books from my physical TBR is the Six of Crows duology, so we of course have Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I am so excited to read these. The pages just absolutely gorgeous. Really excited to read these. People who didn't enjoy the Grisha trilogy as much love this duology, and I loved the Grisha trilogy, so I'm expecting to absolutely love this. I'm just really excited to get this. I'm a bit worried that I'm hyping it too much for myself, but I can't help it because I really do think I'm going to love it, so fingers crossed for me. Next, moving on to some ebooks that I'm hoping to pick up in the month of May. So I have a couple of Kindle backlist books. As usual, I'm trying to get through all of the old books off my Kindle that I've never read. So first off, I have 2 novellas. I have Cautious by Elizabeth Nelson, which is a new adult romance that follows, I think it's a girl who is been in a car accident, and I think it's about a romance between her and the guy who rescues her. I then also have The Engagement Party by Kimberly Freeman. This one I think is very short, and it's about an engagement party, as the title would suggest. Another backlist book from my Kindle I want to get to is Throwaway by Heather Huffman. I'm really unclear what this is about. The cover looks like your typical kind of contemporary, and it talks about a girl who was deemed by society to be a throwaway. So I presume it's maybe going to be about a girl who was raised in the foster system. And it talks about how she meets a man unlike any she's ever met before, so I'm thinking typical romance. But then it goes on to Jessie fights organized crime, corruption, and her own fears to reclaim her life and leave her mark on the world. So I'm not too sure what this is going to be. Whether it's going to be good or bad remains to be seen. The final ebook that I'm hoping to get through in May is a NetGalley read, and that is The Camera Lies by A.B. Morgan. This is an adult thriller that follows I think it's a man who runs a documentary series, like in the style of like Making a Murderer type thing, about investigating possible miscarriages of justice. And I think they're investigating a man who has been convicted of murdering his wife. And I think it's just going to be all about that and trying to determine if this man murdered his wife or not. Sounds so up my alley. I'm so interested in true crime. Basically, 80% of the podcasts that I listen to are true crime podcasts. I'm really into it. I love 48 Hours, the TV show. I love all that type of stuff. So I think this is going to be right up my alley, and it sounds like hopefully it's going to be a really like fun mystery. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a good one. And finally, moving on to a couple of the audiobooks that I'm hoping to get to in May. As usual, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to be listening to in May, as I have a bunch of books kind of on hold, but 2 that I'm pretty sure are going to come in May, I'm hoping, are If I Live by Terry Blackstock. This is the 3rd and final book in the If I Run trilogy, which is all about a girl who is on the run because she discovered the dead body of her male best friend, and she knows that she is going to be accused of the murder, and so she goes on the run, and it's all follows her and the man who is hired by the family to track her down. I've got the 3rd and final book in that to read. I haven't been super loving this, but it is, like I have been enjoying it, and I'm interested to see how the trilogy is going to wrap up. And the final audiobook that I'm hoping to get to is America's First Daughter by Stephanie Dray. This is a historical fiction that is a fictionalized account of the daughter of Thomas Jefferson. I don't know anything about Thomas Jefferson. I'm not American, so he's not a figure that I've personally really learnt about. So I don't even know, I presume that the daughter is a real daughter, but it's like a fictional account of her life. It's his eldest daughter, Martha Patsy Jefferson Randolph, and it's about her life. I think her whole life growing up with Thomas Jefferson as a father, and about his commitment to his country kind of over his family, I think. And I think it's also got to do with her, a romance with her and who she falls in love with, who I think might be like a protege of her father's. I'm not really sure. It just seemed like it could be a really interesting historical fiction, and maybe I'll learn a little bit about a figure that I personally don't really know anything about. So those are the main books that I'm hoping to pick up in May. As I mentioned, I'm hoping that I can get through all of this and then maybe even read even more than this, because I do have a lot of books that I'm really hoping to get to as soon as possible. I would love to chat with you guys in the comments down below if you've read any of these books, if you have any thoughts on them, or what books you guys are hoping to read in May. Do you have super ambitious plans? I would love to know. Please like this video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you want to see more from my channel. That's all I've got for this video today. Bye guys!